Greetings, welcome. Hi, how you doing, everybody? So I did watch The Mandalorian last night. The wife and I sat together and we enjoyed it. I have to say. So last week, the child eating a bunch of eggs and not making people happy with him. There was actually a lot of discussion online about whether or not he was a little jerk. People who apparently have not had toddlers. Toddlers eat everything, and that's honestly that's how I felt it was being portrayed. The problem is that then the writer creator is saying, "Well, yeah, it was upsetting, but that's how it was designed to be." No, 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 no. You thought it was cute, and then people got upset because the fictional eggs of a fictional frog woman were being eaten because that's where we live now. Everything upsets everybody. Anyways, so this week they redeem Baby Yoda slash the child, right? So he is um, left with the frog lady and her hubby as they have fertilized said eggs, and there's already one hatching, and Baby Yoda gets a big silly grin on his face when it hatches. And meanwhile, Mando goes off to meet his people, and he runs into a different sect. And all I could think as soon as I saw these three Mandalorians come in was, okay, so this ties into Rebels. As soon as I saw the three of them, I was like, okay, this totally ties into Rebels. The form-fitting outfits and just their general demeanor and behavior. This is going to tie in. Now, of course, famously, Katie Sackhoff and Sasha Banks are two of the three of these Mandalorians. And I was kind of wondering how many lines they'd give Sasha Banks, and the answer was, I think, two. But that's okay because obviously she's not known as an actress at this stage. But I thought she held her own as a character in a Star Wars show. And I thought that there's a part where they spoilers. There's a part where they go on to the Imperial craft and they're going to take over the Imperial craft and all this. They're going to steal all this stuff. And to me, that felt maybe the most Star Wars ish of anything that we've seen so far this season. Where I was like, okay, this looks like a Star Wars set. It feels like it. And Avon and I both agreed that it kind of looked like the ride at Star Wars theme park in Disneyland, where and again, if you haven't done that ride, it was one of the few last things we did before everything shut down was going to Disneyland, being on that Star Wars ride, and it's fantastic. And that whole sequence kind of felt like that for us. Like, yeah, that really does kind of feel that way. They even had a stormtrooper dropped on the window for kind of a comedic haha thing because he's dead. There's something wrong. Anyway, and the funny thing is, people aren't going to be as upset about a stormtrooper being dropped as they are about the child eating eggs because that's the world we live in. But they weren't fertilized; they were eggs. But the the process of taking over this ship, and then you see, of course, the mention of the dark saber. And if you followed Rebels, if you followed the cartoons, the Clone Wars, and all this, Ahsoka Tano is coming up next week, next episode. Rosario Dawson is Ahsoka. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. I am very excited about this because we know she's a Jedi. We do wonder if she'll know what to do with the child, where to send the child, and what the plan is here. My issue again, I'm going to mention this here, is again where their lives are in danger and the child doesn't use his force powers anymore. He just doesn't seem to have any. Even towards the end, when the creature thing is coming down, because there was still one left over in the ship, and Mando kills it, but the child's just watching it and just smiling and giggling, like he realizes the danger, right? And it feels like the longer we go in this show, the more childlike he gets, the more he's cooing and cawing and giggling at things and upset and crying. Like there's the scene where they have the child taken away from the frog family, where now the tadpole's out of the water and he's petting it and he's playing with it, and then he's reaching out like he wants it while he's being carried away. Yeah. When I saw this was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, I thought, well, that makes some sense. Bryce Dallas Howard would understand toddlers and they're not understanding why they're being taken from one place and taken to another. I would say that overall it was a very good episode. I thought that it did well. I thought the Mon Calamari being included in this was a nice touch. I thought the Pirates of the Caribbean part, you guys know what I'm talking about if you've seen it, the Pirates of the Caribbean part was odd, and yet it served its purpose. Um, and yeah, it was strange. Just put it that way. It was strange that Mandalorian out at sea, and it just felt very Pirates of the Caribbeanish. I'm not, I'm, and I that whole exchange, I was like, so wait, why are they out here? It doesn't matter. The Mandalorians found him, so okay. But yeah, I look forward to where it's going. Clearly, they're going to get into the religion that he's a part of. This is the way, and the other aspect of it, the other Mandalorians that don't feel that way. So it's a nice way to eventually bring in Boba Fett. Clearly, eventually Boba Fett's coming in. Eventually, they're going to get to this, but they're doing a slow burn on it. One thing that I think that the sequel trilogy suffered from, among many things, and there were other things it suffered from. It suffered from just throwing everything at you at once, and there was no real build to things. So the Emperor's back. How do you know? Because it's in the opening crawl. Was there any kind of tease for it in the first two movies? No. Did they plan it 3 movies ahead? No. Clearly they didn't. And here with this show, and I've talked about this before, because you have a singular vision from start to finish, it's it's very well plotted out. It's very well thought out. Yes, you could speed some things up. Yeah, you could have it take place and make a 2 hour movie, which gets rid of some of the other extraneous characters. But they're all interesting. And again, I think that the biggest compliment you can give this show is it feels like Star Wars. It feels like the original trilogy. You could take The Mandalorian, show it to Star Wars fans back in the 80s, and outside of us marveling at the special effects and how strong they are, it would still feel like Star Wars. We'd still be like, yep, this is a Star Wars show. This is completely fitting in with the rest of it. Whereas the sequel trilogies and the prequels both had a lot of problems. The prequels, it was an over reliance on CGI. It was script writing. The lines were mostly awful. The sequel trilogy, the lines weren't much better, and just everything's thrown at you at once. And it's really hard to get around some of the weird lapses in logic that take place in the sequel trilogy. Like I like the sequel trilogy. You can find reviews of those movies on this channel. I enjoy the movies. But there are lapses. There are moments in each movie where your brain goes, so why don't they just do this? And you shouldn't have that. You shouldn't have that experience watching sci-fi movies, even when they're the popcorn stuff and type like Star Wars. You should be able to sort of wonder how they're going to get out of a situation, feel a real sense of danger, and you know, just from a battle standpoint, what a military force does should at least make sense. And very often, and this actually goes back to the original trilogy too. There were things that the Empire did in the original trilogy, and like, so they're just trying to lose. Gotcha. All right, yeah, no, that makes sense if you're trying to lose, but from an actual military standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. I haven't seen those lapses in this show. I think it's been very well rounded, well done, and I thought right up to for the Empire, and I'm fine. I'm going to push this thing right into the water. I don't care. I'll kill all of us. I thought that's the kind of dedication to the Empire that we should see. It's the kind of dedication to the Empire slash First Order, of course, in the sequel trilogy that I don't know we always saw. And seeing it in this show, it feels better. It feels like it's a just very very well written, and the fact that too we're gonna see likely in this show the transition from, I would think at some point it'll build to the transition from calling it the Empire to calling it the First Order. Maybe we'll see that change take place in this show. But either way, it's very well done, and I enjoyed the episode. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode in the comment section below, as always. And again, that's it definitely is sowing the seeds for Katie Sackhoff's character to come back, along with her two sidekicks there, and we'll see what happens with that. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.